Hello, everyone.
And get out. All right, that's the end of the video.
Leave. Get
That's
out
it.
of here.
It's the end
Go.
of the video. Cut off.
Get
no,
the fuck
go,
out.
Get out.
Yeah. I wish I could simulate blood running down my nose right now.
Like filter a flash in. Like
Yeah, but I'm not going through that.
I know,
Are you
I know,
kidding me?
You're literally number one world editor.
Hey. You said it. You said it. All right,
We watched Get Out.
Glasses are coming off.
A
Yeah.
little bit of keys.
Yep.
That's what. The keys. Give me the keys.
Yes. So, hello. My name is Coleman. This is Draven.
D Raven in the house.
D Raven. That's a new one.
Yeah, it sure is.
But, you know, we are us. I was trying to think of anything else I needed to say.
We are us. We watched this film. My opinions are my opinions. I haven't said that in a while.
My opinions are my own. Yeah, welcome to PopCorner, a show primarily about movies as we go through different facets of pop culture. You know, we've hit on a lot of horror, iconic franchises, Alien, Evil Dead, Scream. But then we also kind of branch out occasionally. You've got, like, I don't know, Five Nights at Freddy's.
It's considered horror.
I
Even
guess.
though critics say otherwise, but it
I
is
say
considered.
otherwise. Anyway.
The only thing we've watched, I think, is when you maybe watch Indiana Jones, but I'm just kidding.
Oh, yeah, we did watch Indiana. We watched all of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But it's not on this channel, so why are you here? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you need to re-upload this one day. Woo!
I promise I will. I swear to God. The archives will be unloaded. I'll be like the Disney Vault one day. I'll just let them all out. The subscribers, all 5 of the subscribers are going to be like, what the fuck? And then unsubscribe.
Like, oh my god,
Tori's
they're
gonna
so
unsubscribe.
cringe.
Tori's unsubscribing.
Dude, for real, honestly. So Get Out.
Yes.
So this is the only movie by good old Jordan that I haven't seen yet. I've seen Us because you showed me it like years ago.
Yeah.
And then we
we
both watched.
reviewed Nope
We both watched Nope for the first time together.
Yeah.
For a podcast.
for a podcast.
Worst mistake of my life. Hate that movie.
Yeah.
So Us, I really liked. Nope, I really hated. This one, I'm like, all right, I've never seen this movie. Is it going to be a good? Is it going to be a bad? And I was like 1-1. I was like, Jordan, you're 1-1 right now for me. Good with Us, bad with Nope. So
Yeah.
Get Out. What do we think?
Okay, so this is one of my favorite films of all time.
I don't
Straight
know about
up.
all that.
Straight up. I mean, part of it comes from the fact that I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was
That's
when I watched it.
kind of fair, I guess.
But another part of it is just like, you know, this movie came out in 2017. This is one of the first. I mean, this was his directorial debut, to my knowledge.
Was it before Us?
Yes, this was the
Okay.
first one. Yeah, he made this, and then he made Us, and then he made Nope. And
So
he's
he-
like produced the new Candyman and stuff like that. And like
My sister said that movie was really good too. I never watched the Candyman one though.
I watched it. It's okay. I mean, producer compared to director. In my opinion, I'm like, obviously there's a hand in there somewhere, but it's not as
As like
right.
prevalent.
I don't like say that's his movie. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
not what I'm about. But
I see what you're saying. I see what you're laying on the table.
But when I watched this movie, I've probably seen this movie 4 or 5 times now. And every time it's made me realize every time I watch it, there's more layers that you notice. Obviously, once you know it's not impossible to guess what's going on in this movie. I understand. I think the final twist of like what they're actually doing is a little wild if you think about it. Like as far as
Them
like,
being controlled was a twist I didn't see.
yeah,
Like, oh, the family is actually kind of like controlling them by having like their things connected in a way.
right. Well, they're not just connected. They're like that was the grandma and grandpa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm saying that like I didn't like that was the twist I didn't see coming. Like
Okay, yeah.
Like I knew obviously something was going on with like them being like basically them acting like white rich kids,
Right.
Like everyone else,
Right.
So
yeah.
I was like, okay. I was like, well, clearly they're being controlled, and I kind of figured it was like, which in a way it was the like what the mom was doing, the
Right. Yeah.
hypnosis stuff, which I called it though. The girlfriend called it. You tried to throw me through a loop. You're like, no. You're like,
Yeah.
you got all those wrong. But like when they were playing bingo, and they're like, and we go to the bingo, and it's
She's
obviously
like, let's take a walk.
Yeah, I caught that. She's like, well, let's take a walk. I was like, okay, whatever. And then when we went to the bingo scene, and it shows them obviously like trying to like play bingo to see who's gonna get her boy here. I'm like, what a coincidence. She's like, let's go for a walk while the bingo's going on. I'm like, what would have happened if he would have showed up to bingo? So I was like, she's in on it. I was right.
Right.
I am the master.
I will say that one was it's fairly
It's pretty
easy
obvious.
to see
Yeah,
coming.
it's pretty obvious.
But I think I'll try to rein it back into main thoughts. I love this movie. It's not like the most tense movie in the world. So if you're going for, you're not going to watch this for Halloween.
Yeah, it's not a horror movie.
But I think the mild twist of mystery with that just kind of on edge nature to it, as well as I think, for a directorial debut.
Yeah.
Like the direction of this movie is top notch. I think between like the character acting as well as the scene compositions and everything about it just feels right, if that makes sense. And we'll obviously get into more of the minute specific details in a minute. But I don't know, I just think everything about this movie, you pick it apart, there's layers to it, and I love it. And okay. I guess I'll leave it at that for now. What did you think? I don't know his thoughts on this. So.
What do you think? You think I'm going to say good or trash?
I think you'll say you'll like it, but it's not what you thought.
Okay,
and
so
you'll say it's not as good as us.
All right, so let's get into this real quick for my basic thought here. Going into this movie, I've seen his other two, his newest one and his other one. I guess
we did not like Nope.
Yeah,
I mean,
Nope
to be clear,
neither
of us did. I tried to, and
he was more easy on it. And the review, I didn't like that movie at all. I thought it was boring and slow.
My easy was a 4.
Yeah, I gave it like a 2.
10.
I gave it a 2. Like that's my lowest rating. I've never been close to that again. Like I literally don't like that movie. To me, it was just boring and slow. Not a lot happened. The characters weren't fun. It's okay. We're not here for Nope. Us, we haven't reviewed it, but when we watched it like forever ago, I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't know what to expect. He just kind of was like, "Hey, have you seen this movie?" I was like, "No," and he's like, "Well, let's put it in."
Yep.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. That was
let's
my
put
first...
it in as I click on Netflix.
For us was Netflix?
Oh no, sorry. I thought you were talking about this
I'm talking about us.
Okay,
when we watched that.
My bad.
And I didn't know anything going into any of Jordan's movies here. So going into this one, I've had Us backed up from a long time ago, and then Nope, which was as of recent. And since I was 1-1, I'm like, this movie could go either way. I've liked one of his movies really well, and I've hated one of his movies really well. So this movie, I figured wasn't going to be horror focused, because his other two, I really wouldn't consider myself a horror movie. It does get uneasy in both movies in certain scenes.
I think the movie that's closest to it was probably Us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
However, in this movie, there are tense moments. There are moments where you feel uneasy and you're like, oh man. So like, I'd put it on like probably like the thriller side of things.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't call it a horror movie really. However, with that in mind, I didn't know what to expect.
Asbestos.
I didn't know what to expect other than...
If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with mesothelioma, you may be eligible for cash compensation.
Yeah, you. The only thing I knew about this movie is white rich family, boyfriend.
What is he?
Not the same race.
All right.
And then things go down. That's all I know about the movie. So I was like, okay, let's see how it goes. Honestly, it had some twists and turns that I didn't expect, but I kind of got the gist of it pretty early on, and that's not a bad thing. I actually think the premise is pretty solid, and what they did do with it was fun and entertaining. The best character in this movie was the lacrosse kid, the brother.
You thought he was the best?
Yeah, the best. It's him with his... if you weren't fooling around your body...
If you really pushed your body
to the limits, it'd be
you
pretty.
You could be a fucking beast.
Yeah, a beast. That's my general thoughts, though.
Yeah.
I kind of knew the basic synopsis of the movie just from what you've said and what I've heard.
Yeah.
And then obviously a return of the actor that's been in all of them.
Well, he wasn't in
Us.
Us, yeah.
Well, he was in Nope, so for me it was a return of him again. And
yeah,
in this movie, a lot better. He did a lot better. But we'll talk nitpicks now. That's just my general basis. I liked it, actually, and I don't consider it a horror movie, so that's where I stand for my basic standpoint.
I gotcha.
But you carry on with more in detail.
So you liked it?
Yeah, I actually did like it.
You liked it. Okay. So, I'm going to start right there. So, Jordan Peele, first movie, and he's been on record. I don't know if this was in lead up to Nope or if this was just something after working on the first movie that the guy who plays Chris, Daniel Kaluuya, I think is how you pronounce it.
The main guy in both this and Nope.
Right. Yes, he has been on Jordan Peele has been on record saying like something along the lines of like if he was, Scorsese, if Jordan Peele is to Scorsese, and like, man, oh man, I should have thought this through. Who is the Al Pacino?
Oh,
He
okay.
he wants. He wants Daniel Kaluuya to be his Al Pacino to Scorsese. Like they always work together.
Yeah,
They're
always
in
work together,
always
always
doing
in-
these
yeah.
mobster movies. You know what I mean? They're always doing that. That's what
I mean, I think
that's what he wants him to be.
and that's fair because he's a really good actor.
Like, I like him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I really like him, especially in this movie. I just think Nope, the dialogue wasn't good. And they just
Yeah.
gave him a kind of boring character. But in this movie, I thought it was a banger. I thought it was really good. He played his character really well in this movie.
Yeah, I like it a lot. He was supposed to be. He was in Black Panther as well, the first one.
I've never seen it. No.
I mean, it's fine. His role isn't major. He kind of plays a semi important to the story, but he's not a major character in the story. Like
See-
he's like a leader of like one of the tribes or whatever. It doesn't matter. But he wasn't in Black Panther 2 because he was filming Nope. I know,
Probably
like-
should have stuck with the Black Panther movie.
I mean, even if he had a small role in Black Panther, I agree.
I would have told you, yeah.
I
honestly.
agree. You never know. He could have been multiversed or something.
The
Anyway,
game?
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
No one does.
with that being said, I just kind of want to talk about the characters, the character acting in general. And you'll forgive me for not really knowing anybody else's name in this movie.
I don't remember anyone's
The-
name either.
But actors I knew going in, Rodney or Rod, the TSA
The
agent.
actual best character
I
in the
can't.
movie.
I don't know what I've seen him from, but I've seen him in something before. He's always in a comedy role.
Yeah,
like,
he's a funny dude.
and the comic relief of this movie, while also him low key being the part that drives the plot forward, and as far as officially revealing information to the watcher.
Yeah.
I think is pretty ingenious because if you notice, watch the movie, and as he has these conversations with Rod, he kind of lets out his fears of what's going on, and you're just like, okay, he's paranoid. He's
Yeah, he's
paranoid.
dumb, he's
How
dumb,
are they going to
whatever.
play on this? But then Rod, he's hitting it like every time, right?
I don't know if the sex stuff was really implemented, but
I mean,
hey,
Rose
you
was
never-
Rose was getting him. Rose was getting him. I mean,
that was before the mind control, though. So like,
I suppose.
not really cool though. A lot of really cool stuff. in
I
this
like
movie.
that. I like Rod. Another actor I knew at least somewhat of was the dad. Like I've seen him in other things, and he's usually like a good guy, at least from what I've seen. So it's like really interesting that he's not here.
Mhm.
Mother, brother, all these unknowns, all the people at the dinner party, all these different characters. I thought most of them were really well acted. I mean,
Yeah.
they almost felt, a lot of them at the dinner party felt like caricatures.
Oh
specifically.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
this is a racist asshole. This is a racist asshole. This guy here, he's a racist asshole.
Yeah.
But like,
All the characters you actually spend time with, they're
I mean, yeah, like they feel. I mean, ultimately, racist assholes. However, I don't know. It's just interesting, like the different layers to these characters. Like you hear all this about the dad being a surgeon. You find out he's the one that's perfected this operation. That's paramount to the plot of the movie. And then you've got like character acting. Like, what was the other guys? Was it Edward? Was that his actual name?
who?
Andre, and they called him Dre. That's Dre, the guy that flashed.
Oh yeah, the snaps out of it with the flash.
I
Yeah.
love the acting of like he's very posh, top of the line, and then like that, and then you can see the fear on the face. Like I thought that was very, very good, very compelling. Even you get the name drop of the movie, which I think Jordan Peele likes to do.
Yeah.
In this, that's all it was. But then in Us, I'm sure they said it's us. I'm sure they said that in that movie. And then with Nope, that was like the running gag of the movie. It was like, nope, not doing that.
Yeah, I should have said that as I watching the movie.
Yeah, man. Hindsight is 2020.
Oh
But
gosh.
man, let me tell you.
Yeah, characters are actually pretty good in this movie.
Did you have any highlights or
Rod was
yeah?
he was the best, actually the best character in the movie.
Yeah.
He's just so funny. The T.S. G'nay.
One
We
thing-
get done.
Yeah, I
and this
know.
is considered done.
Yeah.
He's so good. But even the family though, like you were saying, I think the family did really well. I mean, I don't think
well, all but the brother who was just fucking crazy.
Yeah, no
they
one
were charismatic.
yeah.
Like the dad especially.
The mom was like, yeah, whatever. But the dad and
Yeah, she kind of took
the,
like the. You always felt I think she always
uneased.
made you felt uneased because
Yeah.
she was always the one like her word was the final say. Like like to Jeremy, like shut up.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
even to the dad, like are you done? So
The dad and the girlfriend did really well at their parts. I
Yes.
think those are probably the standouts of the family themselves.
Mhm.
And yeah, I was trying to think of like any other character that would even matter. I think that's about
Chris.
all.
I mean, I know we talked about Chris a little bit, but as far as like his actual performance, like I mean, I taled about him with like
Like the main guy, Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah. He was. I say he did really well. I think that like he was actually given a
Yeah.
script this time to actually play with.
What I like about Chris in this movie, and this is one of my favorite things that happens with your brooding protagonists, is like their ability. Like if somebody's trying to be overly like talkative to them, they're just like, okay, I love that.
Yeah.
Like actually,
Okay.
like,
I
all right, man.
I like that, but it's funny because in Nope, that's all he did
I know,
say. That
I
was
know.
literally all he said in Nope was just okay and mm-hmm. But a
like-
mix of both of like real dialogue
Yes.
and then that when like things are getting hairy or like people are being
Mm-hmm.
overly, like you said, overly talkative and he's like,
Yeah,
okay. Mhm.
and then I think the
Just walking outside with the dad, he goes, I know what you're thinking.
Yep. He goes, I wasn't going to take it there, man. No, I think the range of each of the actors in this movie, I mean, genuinely, from like a quiet conversation to yelling about keys, any of these moments, or, get out to, my time as an African American man was not that bad.
Not that bad, but I never get to go explore.
Yeah.
I'm always in the house doing chores.
All right, you rapping? Anyway,
That's what he said.
my bad.
Tips hat.
Ma'am.
Milady.
Milady. But no, I think really that's something that this watch especially has been acting for me. Like, yes.
Yeah, acting was
Eh.
fantastic. I mean, even like stupid things that like you're like okay, like even afterwards, like fucking like the grandpa and the body just sprinting towards our boy.
Yeah.
And then I'm just like, what the? And then I'm like, that's kind of weird, honestly.
It is weird, but I mean, imagine if you're a guy from like
Yeah.
the 1940s and then like you're put into the body of a spry young guy and you were a sprinter before, you might as well be a sprinter again.
Honestly,
And, like,
yeah.
I mean, I think that's a good way to transition over to like the plot of the movie itself.
Okay. Yeah.
And we can talk. Let's get this out of the way now. How do you feel about the pacing of this movie?
The pacing actually was pretty neat. I mean,
I
like
never
the
noticed any downtime.
I mean, I like the build up, like of actually like them going to the house and like you getting a little bond with like the girlfriend and him.
Yeah.
And you kind of like start to trust the girlfriend because like she backs him up with like the cop who's like, "Yo,
Yeah.
you give me your ID." It's like, no, he didn't do anything. Fuck off.
Or the first night, she's like shit talking her family.
Yeah,
or how
like
they're
telling him to back off and all that stuff. Like you really like she did really well at like you wanting to trust her. It's just it was so giveaway when it's like, oh, let's go take a walk, and then you're
See,
like, okay.
I agree with you, but I think they throw you for a loop a little bit, or at least the intention was. And I never took it that way. I was always like, oh man, she's bad. By that point, I was on the same page as you my first watch as well.
Yeah.
But one thing where I think they tried to throw you for a loop was when he finds the pictures of her with the other people. It's clear that she had drawn them there. Like he figures that out before he's even tried to rely on her to find the keys to leave.
Yeah.
When he says, "Oh, I'm just looking for my camera."
Honestly, yeah.
But I think what they were going for was for you to think that she was
other-
possessed.
Oh, okay.
At least that's, or not possessed, but like hypnotized.
Hypnotized.
That
yeah.
was my thought. Maybe I'm wrong, and because obviously, as we've learned from Chris himself, whenever you're in those immediate moments, you forget. So she wouldn't remember it. She would just know, oh, I'm gonna go get this person, bring him home.
Yeah.
And then they would do it, and then make her forget, and go all about it again. And I think that's, I think it's an interesting
It was,
layer that
wipe
was
her memory.
right.
That'd be kind of cool too, because like it would have kind of been cool for them to kind of go that way because she is trying. Like it looked like she was trying to actually like look for the keys and peace out. It would have been kind of cool, like for them to like go in a way where she was being controlled.
It was clear. I mean, because as soon as like they kind of captured him, she was just like keys.
Oh yeah, at
So,
that point.
I mean-
but I meant like before that point. You know, when
Right.
she was actually like looking for the keys or something, or like they were getting ready to leave or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is.
I definitely like it better as her being an antagonist.
I think I would have preferred like us not really like. I just thought the bingo thing, that scene right there, was a giveaway. I think without that, maybe get them out of the place with doing something else instead of her just straight up being like, "Let's go for a walk." You know,
Gotcha.
I thought as soon as they said that, and then it shows the bingo scene, I'm like, coincidence? Come on. I think it would have been cool.
I think it would have been just as easy for him to say, "I'm going to go for a walk," and then her say, "I'll go with him."
Yeah, I'll go with you. Yeah. See, exactly. Just coincidence that he just happened to go for a walk when the bingo thing happens.
And
whatever.
then maybe that's when he's like, "All right, it's time for bingo."
Yeah, time for
You know
bingo.
what I mean?
Later, they're gone. Let's go. I just would have liked it if like I would have been like, oh, she's part of it when he looks at the pictures. Like if I would have been completely blind until that point, I think I would have liked the like, oh, she's evil ordeal a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my only problem with the pacing is I felt like I knew that she was kind of part of the bad side a little too early.
So kind of the structure a
Yeah.
little bit. Yeah, I get you.
Honestly, other than that though, pacing like up to the house and then at the house meeting the family members and like seeing them be kind of all nicey to him until like the next night, then
Yeah.
things start getting sus, and then it kind of pulls it together at the end for the third act, and then you learn everything. And then the ending itself was pretty good. I mean, the closure was pretty
Yeah.
good. I honestly thought it was gonna end on the meme, like how I told you. The cop car pulls up, and like she was still alive, and like he was on top of her. I'm like,
Well, that is definitely what the fear was trying to be.
yeah,
in that
yeah,
moment. It was
because she even goes like, help.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh, the cop's gonna just like walk out here
Gonna
and shoot
pull
this
out.
man.
Night of the Living Dead.
I'm like, oh no, dude.
Have you ever seen the end of the movie? Have you ever seen that movie?
What?
Night of the Living Dead.
Long time
Black
ago.
and white movie.
Yeah,
Black-
long time ago.
The,
Probably when I was like 8.
The black guy makes it to the end, and then he, like, there's like a party of like people out there shooting zombies, and he's I think he's either still in the house or he just walks out of the house. They survived all night in, and then there's like, oh shit, they kill him.
Dang.
He's the only survivor, and that's how it goes.
I don't think. Kind of just like Outlast.
Yeah.
No, I was just saying, like, you just go through everything. And
Oh,
you
just for that,
You
yeah.
just walk out and then
Yeah.
you get shot.
Yeah. Man, Outlast. That's one.
The first game.
That's a culturally significant game. I think we could swing it. I said it's a culturally significant game. That's pop culture. I think we could swing it. We'll do
Get
a
out.
spoiler cast.
Leave. Get out.
Oh, you don't think so?
I'm down
You
for
think
whatever,
so?
man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the structure and plot of this movie was pretty solid.
Yeah, I liked it. I think I agree with you that I think I would have liked for a few bits of like the structuring to be a little less predictable.
For a first movie, though, that's kind of banger, though.
No, it really wasn't. And honestly, it's one of those situations where you kind of assume like, okay, if they're in on it, she's on it.
I don't know. I mean, I like to go into movies thinking they're going to try to, like, revert or, kind of, like, revert on that. We're like, oh, she's part of the family. They're all kind of evil. Maybe this
Right.
one person might be a switcheroo and try to trick us, but, like, real talk, they're good.
Right.
I mean, there are times where they do that. I mean, heck, that walk thing could have been a, like... Because right at the walk part, I'm like, she's part of it.
Right.
That could have been like, oh, you're going to think she's bad, but in reality, we're going to swing it to where she's actually kind of nice.
Okay.
I like those things being twisted and turned upon. I think... I mean, at the end of the day, though, I mean, there was twists and turns in here that I didn't actually see coming. And, yeah.
I think what made this movie... I think there's two aspects of this movie that I really struck a chord with this watch as well, like as from a story plot perspective.
Okay.
That really hit me. Not like it changed my life or anything, but like, I think that on one hand, in the early goings of this movie, obviously Chris is the protagonist. We're seeing a lot of it from his perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Not very many scenes happening without him there. As we're going to the house and we meet the family for the first time, up to that point, whether it be the traffic stop with the cop after the accident or the interactions with the family, or the initial interactions as well as the family dinner, or all of these different moments. There's each time is bringing up these different things that I could imagine. Again, as a white person saying, I could imagine being uncomfortable.
Yeah, in those
or a
scenarios.
black person.
Yeah, in those
Yes.
scenarios, for sure. I
Or-
mean, that's a real good way to say it, actually. You know, as
So-
a white person,
because
too,
I think
you
that's
can-
I think that's
yeah.
what the I mean, I think that's the main point of the movie is like that. I mean, obviously there's like whatever about the story itself, the sci-fi nature it gets
It
into
definitely
in the
tries
end.
to put in like points in there, like, hey, even if like something isn't necessarily like wrong at the moment, like there are certain situations where like it's kind of sus.
Asking him, "What's your sport?"
Yeah, like exactly,
Stuff like that.
stuff like that. Yeah, like putting them on the spot, and you're like, okay, that's obviously not.
Right.
You shouldn't be doing that.
And because of the nature of this being a thriller movie, I think it adds like an edge to those things. So I think people viewing it are supposed to be like, "Oh man, this makes me uncomfortable," and then you're supposed to be like, "Oh wait, that's how people are."
Yeah.
So I think
exactly.
that's. Sorry, I had something in my throat there. Your mom. Anyway,
Okay.
how does that work? Let me ask you that. I don't know, but anyway,
Whatever works for you, brother.
for what it's worth, I didn't mean your mom. I meant the internet's mom. I hope you.
I mean,
I
hey,
do
just
that.
hopefully my mom doesn't see this, I guess.
I'm sorry, Christy. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go die now. Anyway, I think that was like something that I really noticed was like, man, like you can obviously it was always about race. This movie,
Yeah.
was. And it's not like white people are bad. It's just that like it's more highlighting these situations, which I think even since 2017 have ramped up. Are we getting like serious? Am I getting serious on the podcast?
Go for it.
You know, you've got like the whole 2020s stuff, which we don't need to go into. It's not necessary, but
it's just a
stuff like that.
It's unfortunately a never-ending
ramps
problem.
up. Yeah, I mean,
it's unfortunately probably never gonna go away, and I feel like this movie does highlight on those scenarios. And like I said, even though like just you don't be like, oh hey, I know what you're thinking, like they're white guys and they're working for us, like bro, like you don't just that's so terrible. You don't say that, bro. Like, and that's just one of the examples. I mean, the one you said with like sports and stuff, or like just, you a fan of growing up, you get in fights, like come on, like that stuff is, and that's how people are. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are just again, as you said, racist douchebags. They exist, unfortunately. So it highlights the problems, I think, really well.
Yeah, and like I mean, I don't want to say tasteful way. I mean, like this movie ends in violence, of course, naturally, but I don't know. I think it's done in a way that's tasteful, that it's like to an audience that may not go in for that. I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like they're like people that might say, "Oh wow, that movie's woke." They might just say, "Oh, that's a good thriller movie."
Yeah,
and then hopefully get the message at least
on
subconsciously.
Top of it, yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I like we were saying earlier though, like you, or at least you said, like even though we're white, and it's interesting that like he's like, oh,
we are.
No, it's interesting though, because like even though we don't fully understand and can like relate to scenarios that they would be put in, watching this movie, you're like, man, like watching this movie, there are scenes where I'm like, okay, that is awkward. I would never want to be in that scenario.
Yeah.
And you're like, man, some people have to be put in that scenario because of the way people are sometimes. Yeah. And us being our race, it's just interesting to just like
we're gamers.
Yeah, that's our race, gamers.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to like actually be put into the shoes a little bit and like witness like what they might be going through, right? Mm-hmm. And on top of it being a thriller and a story with that message being in there, I think movie's banger.
For sure, yeah. So, I mean, I like that. I like that a lot.
Oh, when there's a hidden not really hidden, but when there's a message on top of a good story, you got a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Another example of like, I think the plot with presenting itself in a way that feels higher up than I think your average movie is the layers of not interpretation as we kind of already just discussed with, the socioeconomic issues, but also, or sociopolitical, but also, the actual themes and like the tonal shifts that the movie has. For instance, like the deer getting hit in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I didn't really notice until this time around is that Chris lingers on that deer for so long, both in the beginning and also in his dreams.
In his dreams, he has,
Because it's his mom. He sees it as his mom.
Laying on the side of the road,
she was hit, bleeding out, alone.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't, that's something, I'll be honest, I didn't pick up on that until this time around. Or, there's as much, this is more of like foreshadowing, because these things are made clear later on. Like, the mom in the very beginning with the tea. When she does that the first time, that's when Georgina spills the tea. Because she's doing it as like a way to like kind of coax him when they're first talking.
Yeah,
that's why she spills it.
I see what you mean.
And then she has that kind of...
I didn't actually pick up on that. Yeah, that makes sense.
But then because you realize that she's done this to others.
Yeah.
And then later on, you get more of that, of course.
See, that's the thing that you would see on like a second watch.
Right.
Like the first time watch, like I just completely forgot about the drink scene where she just spills that or whatever and like kind of zones out. And that's because of her doing that. Like, that would have to be like you already know the plot or what's going on, so you look for the little details and stuff that you would have missed.
Right, or like when, actually, with the hypnosis scene, when he's like scratching the bed as a kid, or like even in the therapy chair, and then you realize that as he's going down and struggling with the same thing down in the pre-op room, that's when he scratches out the wool of the chair and he puts it in his ears. That's how he's able to escape because he's not... put under officially. And then the madness ensues that is awesome, I think. He put the doom music on and just goes. And
he went up to the dad and said, "See you later, buckaroo."
Buckaroo.
I am so good, dude.
That was a classic. I won't lie to you. That was a laugh moment, you know what I mean?
Pulls out the deer and he's just like, "Horns!"
LOL, you know what I mean?
Oh, man.
But there's countless moments like that throughout the movie that just feel, just like that smart and well done, like, or like little nods to things like, oh, there's black mold downstairs. Okay, come on now. There's not black mold down there.
Black is in fashion.
Oh my god.
And
then everybody showing up in the
black cars
because they're all obsessed. You know what I mean?
It's like, bro, what? Yeah.
Like, stylistically, I think this movie is there. I think in every way. I think predictability, upon watching so many times, which that's the weirdest thing to say. Man, this movie was predictable, I say on my fifth watch. But really, I think realizing that there were, ways that you could restructure a few scenes. Not even change order, just restructure how those scenes are done to make it so much more of a twist at the end.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
I didn't even, I'm stupid, but I didn't even, I didn't even, realize that the runner dude was the grandpa, and then the other one was the grandma. I didn't even actually put that two and two together until they, straight up said it in your face.
Right.
So, I didn't even catch that, all the, whatever, because you said, the way you said it when it happened, you're like, well, yeah. Well, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't watch it before, my bad. I didn't know if they actually did leave crumbs that you seen when watching it. But I didn't know
it's hard to discern now if that's something... I definitely remember thinking that before that scene.
Really?
I just don't know if it's something that I picked up on necessarily, other than the fact of how they talked. Like Georgina not knowing modern slang.
Oh, yeah.
But then Georgina's not really, really modern. Snitching is...
Yeah, snitching, yeah.
Even for somebody Georgina's age, she would probably
Tattletale?
know. Yeah, tattletale. No, we're not from the 1930s, Grandma.
30s music playing.
Yeah,
on
right?
the subtitles.
Right. So, really, I just think that there's moments like that. I think the Georgina and... What's the other guy's name? Is it Walter?
I think so.
I don't
but
remember.
I'm not.
But the grandpa, yard worker guy.
Yeah.
I actually thought the dynamics of those characters were cool because you don't get a lot, but you get like one interaction. You get one true good interaction with each of them, and each one of them like offers a different thing. On one hand, with Georgina, you clearly see that mentally there's something wrong.
When she's crying,
like she's crying and laughing at the same time.
Yeah.
And then that's clearly, obviously, the crying is Georgina, and then the laughing is whoever Grandma is. I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
So, like, there's stuff like that that's just like, okay, what the hell? And then with the other guy, it's like the way he talks, first off, and then the way he kind of like just moves, mannerisms, different things like that. It's just all weird. And then once the realization kicks in, that's when you're like, oh shit, we're screwed.
I mean, off topic, but I do like how at the end, like, with like her having the gun and being with Grandpa, that like he uses his phone to flash.
Yes.
Because the girlfriend, whatever her actual name is in the movie, but when Chris flashes the one guy that says like get out, she wasn't there for that. So when the flash goes off, she didn't even think about like something like that would happen. So like he's just like, give me the gun, I'll do it, and then she's like, bah.
Wasn't sure exactly what happened.
So like I kind of like the idea of like her not knowing that because she wasn't there the first time.
And even if she did, I'm sure it could even be rectified that maybe she didn't see it.
I mean, yeah.
Either way, I mean,
I definitely want to say it's for the fact that she wasn't in the area though when the first one happened.
Right.
Because I mean, I think that's a better setup than just I didn't see the flash. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think it's better set up that way, and I really like that actually a lot. And then obviously Ty from Gears of War himself. You don't get that reference, but you're never gonna play it.
I'm waiting.
He said, I'm waiting until Gears 15.
Let's see. Is there really anything else you have to say about the movie?
Not really, because like the movie's pretty self-explanatory. Like there's not a whole lot going on other than like the movie really focuses on putting you, as we talked about, in unfortunate, uneasy situations more than it is like heavy plot focused. Like there is a plot going on in the background, obviously, and there are like little details that we've talked about that are Easter egg throughout. But it's kind of like, hey, this rich white family is kind of sus. All the people that aren't part of the family is also kind of sus in a different way. They're acting weird. He goes up to the one guy like, "Yo, it's nice to meet a brother here," and then he's just like, "Well, good day, sir. Good day, madam."
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, it's like acting like a freaking 1970s super rich white dude. So that stuff is obviously going on in the background, and then at the end you find the big twist of like, okay, so the mom and dad work together to put together these controlling slaves, basically, and that's what it is.
I know.
And Rod was right, dude. And Rod being the champ,
yes, motherfucking A.
Exactly, dude. But overall, I think like it's pretty like fast.
Do you wanna lead this into your final?
Yeah. I think I just think that overall, like going into this, I didn't really expect anything. I was just like, okay, 1-1. I don't know if I'm gonna like it or hate it, or if it's gonna be one of those. It's okay. I was actually thinking it was just gonna be an average movie because me loving one, William hating one. I was like, all right, this is gonna be the one that's like, it's all right. So going into this movie, I didn't think it was going to be horror-esque because the other two I didn't really consider horror to me anyway. They were just more interesting concepts.
Yeah.
And, like, creepy stuff going on. So, like you said, thriller. I think the main difference between this and Nope being, this movie actually has dialogue and a story. I didn't get the full twist. Like, I got the girlfriend being bad. I got that part.
Yeah.
But, like, the twist of like the grandpa being in the two, I didn't get the whole like them kind of controlling them with like surgery and messing with their brains to like I didn't get any of that stuff.
Well, I think the first twist of the movie truly comes in with the auction scene, as far as like people, everybody's racist and it's going to escalate into something bad.
Yeah,
but you don't know to the scale of what they're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the first thing. You're like, oh shit. And then it's like, you figure out what they're going to do to him, and you're like, oh shit, I think.
Yeah.
And then, again, I agree. I don't think the girlfriend was an oh shit moment, but I think those were the two of like, I just ramping up of like, the severity of what's actually going on. It's like, oh, it's not just he's getting discriminated by his girlfriend's family.
Yeah, exactly.
They're
There's
selling
stuff
him.
Yeah, exactly. There's stuff going on there, selling
So-
them and then controlling them. Like, there's a lot going on into it.
Yeah.
And I like that. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't catch, but there are stuff that I did catch that made me feel good when watching it.
Yeah.
But like,
Feel good.
yeah, I was like, cool. Yeah, okay. The Among Us sound, Dwayne the Rock Johnson. The thing with Nope though is like, cool. The twist was the UFO doesn't have aliens in it. It is the alien. Woo.
Yeah.
I hate that movie so much. I'm sorry. No.
Nope.
Nope. I'm gonna be honest though. I'll get right into my rating here because there's not a whole lot else to talk about. And personally, I'm going to slap it with. I'm stuck between two ratings here, and you know what? I like the concept a lot. Actually, I think it was a pretty neat concept, and Jordan did really well with this one, just like he did with us. I'll rate it a 7.5.
7.5. Wow.
Yeah.
I had you pegged for a 7.
I was thinking 7. Those are the two I was up against. 7, 7.5. But I'm like, honestly, the concept was really good. Seeing our Chris, the actor who plays him, actually be able to play with his role a little bit and actually, bring his acting to life. I loved it. The actors were really good. Other than they weren't bad. It's just like the characters. That,
there were characters that weren't as relevant.
Yeah, the ones that weren't relevant didn't matter. I like the callbacks, the little Easter eggs that like you could watch a second time and catch new stuff. Like that is what makes a movie good. That's why I love Scream. You can watch it and
You
catch
can catch the killer earlier.
Yeah,
or
it's like
this or
that stuff makes it more rewatchable instead of just like, oh, okay, I watched the story, let me watch it again.
Yeah.
There's stuff to find. And that, I think, is what sways it to the 0.5 for me, is that you can rewatch it. It's rewatchable. There are things to find. There are things planted. It is definitely driven in a way where they thought out things and put things together. It's just certain things that I would have maybe raised my score is, again, the girlfriend not being as predictable. Or, I personally, I really the only complaint I really have is that. Like, honestly, the kills at the end were really good, really fun. It was gory. I mean, everything wraps up nicely. Rod comes in clutch.
Who would have thought that Chris was a good final girl? Anyway.
Taking on Sydney and your girl over there.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, 7.5.
7.5.
I think that's what I'm good with. Content.
Okay.
As you and your favorite movie of the year.
This might be my favorite movie that we've watched for the podcast.
Really? Definitely not
Followed
mine.
very closely by, I think, either Scream, the first one, or which I'd have to look back and see what I rated the first Scream.
I think you rated it like an 8.
Yeah, I think that's about accurate. I think that's right.
The highest Scream you rated was 6.
What did we do for 6?
I think we both did like 9.
I like Scream 6 a lot, but I think I mildly overrated it.
I mean, we came back from watching that like in theaters. We had the
Yeah.
hype. We had a good.
It was that
We had
was-
a good,
I think that was a high moment. I think Scream 1 is the best Scream.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the modern Screams are
They're really good. They just don't really risk take that much in my opinion. With the kills.
I've definitely mellowed on 5. Definitely was great, in my opinion.
6.
6.
Listen,
I've mellowed on 6 a lot.
it depends on what 7's like. If they axe a bunch of characters, 6 is great because it builds the
And
characters.
I think that's what we said.
Yeah.
We said tentatively.
It depends on what 7 is.
What are we talking about right now? Okay. Anyway,
Yeah, stick around. We talk about all the time.
subscribe because when Scream 7 comes out, we're gonna have to do a not a franchise recap. We're not gonna watch them all again, but we're gonna have to go through for an episode, maybe like a pre-op episode, and just be like, okay,
This is
what
our
are we
initial
thinking
thoughts before going to
for
watch
this
it.
potential series finale? You know what I mean?
Because 7's definitely gonna be the last one, probably.
It's got to be.
But yeah, go get out.
Anyway,
leave.
get out. Go.
Everyone already left anyway.
I
Doesn't
know,
matter.
I know.
As soon as
44 minutes. Yeah, they're gone now. Get out. I think it's a.
All right.
All right. See ya. I think it's a great premise for a movie as far as the timing and the continued relevance of, racial topics, issues like that, I think it's handled in a way that people never would have said, go woke, go broke. I think it's handled in a way because it's presented as a thriller movie. I think it handles its mysteries fairly well with really layered plot elements and callbacks and really well put together themes. I think the only issue was a little bit of the structuring of certain scenes that made it a little easy to predict certain moments. I think a combination of smart cinematography with really off-centered shots and coloring of, like, say, vehicles or any number of visual imagery.
Mm-hmm.
And a soundtrack that we didn't talk about, but I thought the music in this movie was one of the things that made it the most off-putting.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you picked up on the music very much at all, but
I didn't really pay attention to the soundtrack.
there's the little stingers of, like, I don't know, just creepy,
Yeah, like, just a creepy vibe, like an aura to it. It wasn't like I don't know, there wasn't like a bunch of, like, bangers going on, so I wasn't paying attention really, but
right.
Yeah, they had that eerie atmosphere going.
I always just imagine with Georgina,
Yeah.
like everything else is quiet. Blum, 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 blum. But anyway, all of those elements together, along with, like, the juxtaposition of the comedic, off-put with Rod and the TSA, I think
My boy.
all of that kind of compounds together to make, in my opinion, one of the best movies ever, because I think it plays with your emotions in quite a few different ways. I think the character acting, especially from the dad, and I agree even with the girlfriend, and also with, Chris, Daniel Kaluuya's character, I think everything was shot really well. Direction was done phenomenally, and it's all the more evident in scenes where, say, Chris and the dad are walking through the tour, and then the camera pans around to see Rose, and she's not even talking, but she's doing this to Chris, like stuff like that. It's like above and beyond for a scene.
Yeah,
like you have to really think about, like, the composition of the entire household as you're doing these shots and these ideas to really sell in, like, something that's just a few seconds of a shot, just how much more character these characters have in these moments. And I don't know, just the beauty of all of it to me really truly is, like, I think an 8.5.
I knew it.
I
knew it was an 8.5.
Well, I went into this movie always thinking it was a 9, but I really did simmer on the idea that, like, again, fifth watch, slightly predictable, at least in some of the elements that should have been the most emotionally impactful.
Yeah.
But I think there is emotion to this movie. I think it just comes in different forms. It's not sadness that you're feeling.
I think it's just like
anger.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact of, like,
it elicits different feelings, but I think it's trying to.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's what it wants.
It's definitely trying to implant the idea of, like,
in their brains.
No, just the background story, not really background, but the story that's prevalent on top of the story, just, the whole race thing, like, it's just, again, unfortunate, and I think it does it really well, and I think on top of the story that's actually intriguing, like, that's what really wraps it together. Right. it was an interesting concept, and I actually really like it on top of the message. I don't know, I mean, I might rewatch this again one day, but I don't, I'm a horror guy. This wasn't really a horror movie to me, so... But as, like, coming in as...
trying to tease you with these other genres.
Yeah. Well, that was actually probably my favorite one that you've brought to the table for me. I think this is probably my favorite movie that you've brought to the table.
So, my major ones that I came in with telling you that they're good were Indie, Alien, and Get Out.
Are those the only three?
I know I've suggested other movies, but a lot of them I hadn't seen either, so... You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Those are the three that I'm like, yeah, these are good.
Yeah, indie was okay. Indie's not my genre, so I was like, eh. Like, it wasn't bad, but
that was even more not your genre.
Yeah, that's like not my genre. That's out of my. That's like way over there.
Even then, I only truly endorse the first one.
Alien, pretty good movie. I'm just interested to see the sequel because you said that one's god tier. And then this movie, I think I like.
I wish we had more time. That was what we were watching tonight. If we had more time, but that movie's just so fucking long.
But yeah, I think I prefer this over Alien and Indie. But Alien was pretty good.
I prefer this over Alien. Okay, so where do you rank this with Jordan Peele's movies? So obviously, Nope is at the top. Nope's at the bottom.
It's been a while. I would need to rewatch Us someday, but
We have the perfect place to do it. Right
True.
here on the PopCorner podcast, baby. Maybe before the end of the year we'll do that.
from right now, oh, I just love the concept of the double. I just remember the end getting a little weird, and then I like the twist of the little girl. I love that. I don't.
I think you say yours. I'll finish out with mine.
I think right now, since this is fresh in my mind, I'll go Get Out and then Us and then Nope. But I would have to do a fresh rewatch on Us because I don't remember. I remember the big plot points, but that's it.
I mean, my opinion has never changed because I saw Get Out and then I saw Get Out. I think I was a little late to that one. I saw it either end of 2017 or beginning of 2018, and then I think Us was 2019. So I was still fairly fresh when I saw Us, which I didn't see it in theaters. So I mean, I guess I saw it a few months late. But even when I finished Us, I was like, that is really good, but it's not as good as Get Out.
I don't think Us had a background message too, though. Us didn't have the whole.
See, I feel like I'm not stupid anymore. I feel like if I went back, maybe I could find one.
Exactly.
Because
yeah.
Nope had one. I think Nope very clearly had a message. I think Nope's message had a lot to do with
Try not to
the
make a bad movie.
exploitation. Well, partially. I mean, the exploitation of animals as well as just probably actors and child actors in general. Because you had Stephen Yeun's character.
Fucking monkey, bro.
Monkey
God, that movie's so bad.
Monkey Paw Productions.
Monkey Paw Production.
I like how we thought that was a reference.
Yeah, we were just when it started, we were like, okay, referencing a studio or something, and then we're like,
and
wait,
it's like, nope, that's the movie. Yeah.
Stop that movie. And that movie just got since post-COVID, Nope has been the second most watched and most earned as far as money for horror since post-COVID. There is no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, this has been PopCorner Podcast. We like this movie.
2-1, Jordan. 2-1. I have to watch
2-1.
Candyman and see if I'll give you a 3.
Yeah. He produced something else as well. Similar role of a generally produced. I'd have to look and see what it is, but that'll be it for us today. Stay tuned next week for whatever else there is. I still technically have to publish the Thing video.
I forgot, yeah.
And by me saying this now that I haven't published it yet, I'm by default just going to put this one out first. So look forward to probably The Thing next. It's done. It's in the can. It's uploaded. I just haven't. On YouTube, it's privated right now, and its title is literally the date that we recorded it. Because that's what the video file says.
You went 2 weeks without uploading anything, and then you're like, all right, we're good. We're going.
We're going, yeah. We're in it now. I am motivated.
That was the only time we actually had because we used to upload on the other channel, and it used to be every week.
Yeah.
And then we went over to this, and we're just kind of eh. But
listen, we'll get there. I think we'll get there.
Shout out to the 4th subscriber.
Thank you.
You're a legend.
Fucking G. Anyway.
Get out.
Yep. Goodbye.